For the departure, the stairs are being brought up to the side of the plane now. So we're going to go ahead and maybe get a little bit closer there to Air Force One. Again, this is the C-32 aircraft, not the traditional Air Force One aircraft you may think of, but the president, anytime they're on any aircraft, that aircraft is Air Force One. And as you see the door there now opening at the front of the Air Force One, there's the presidential logo. And a number of vehicles now approaching, including the presidential limousine right here to our right. You can see, let's go ahead and get over there and see that. There we go. The presidential limousine and other vehicles of the motorcade are getting in place. And let's get President Biden will be coming out of that door here any moment now. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer to the door there, if you don't mind, Carr. And again, the president is leaving here and then heading downtown, of course, for his speech there at Mother Emanuel. This is a big deal here at the air base. They've been preparing here for a few days.
Raymond doing a good job there, showing some context of people who are gathered there to greet the president. Of course, he has just landed here in Charleston. We're expecting to see him come out of that aircraft any moment now. He has a busy, jam-packed schedule. He's only in Charleston for a couple of hours. We know he has other stops on his trip later today, but we know the one thing for certain is he is going to Mother Emanuel in downtown Charleston, where he will be giving a speech, Megan.
Exactly. He'll be doing that around 12. We're anticipating, of course, all the road closures in place, a big crowd gathering there, as well as we are also preparing for the mayoral inauguration. So certainly a busy day there in downtown Charleston. Now, we're also told by Jim Clyburn that he's expected to head to the International African American Museum, which will be their first presidential visit there since opening this year. So a very exciting day here in Charleston as he, hopes to win back this decline of black voters.
Exactly. That is definitely a big focus of today. He's trying to appeal to black voters, and that's why he's making that stop there to Mother Emanuel Church. This was such an important stop on his campaign trail coming to Charleston back in 2020. It really launched him to the top of the Democratic primary. And now as we enter another election cycle, he's hoping to have that same sort of success here in our state. So again, we just saw the president's plane, Air Force One, landing at Joint Base Charleston. We're expecting to see him any moment. And there it is live there, Joint Base Charleston, Air Force One. President should be making his way down those stairs any moment now.
Exactly, Hannah. And this is coming on the heels of his visit to Pennsylvania on Friday. So just 2 days ago, Biden had to visit to Valley Forge there in Pennsylvania, where George Washington and the Continental Army spent their winter encampment there nearly 250 years ago. This all with a focus on democracy, underscoring the importance of democracy. And of course, this is right near the anniversary of the January 6th attack. So Biden asking voters when he was in Pennsylvania if democracy is America's most sacred cause. That's his focus here today, as well as he heads to Mother Emanuel. And
we know just one of the biggest allies of the president and his campaign has, of course, been South Carolina Representative Jim Clyburn. We spoke to him last week about this upcoming visit and what was planned. And we also know that it's because of the power of South Carolina Representative Clyburn that Biden has this appeal here to voters in our state. And Clyburn was quoted saying, Biden's connection to the state and the community is what resonates. That's what they're going to be playing up today. He's going to look to appeal on a personal level. We're talking about a very dark moment in Charleston's history, the shooting that happened in 2015, and then Vice President Biden spoke in the church then. So he's looking to connect with voters on that level. Here we are some 10 years later coming back to the same place, showing voters he still thinks about and cares about those here in South Carolina.
And Clyburn being very local recently about his concern about this decline for black voters for Biden. So of course this is all on the heels of the primary as South Carolina is kicking off the Democratic primary February 3rd of this year. Biden, of course, appearing on that primary ballot along with Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson.
We're showing you that live look right now. You see Mother Emanuel on the screen as well as Air Force One. That will be the first stop. So once he comes down those stairs and gets into that motorcade, he will be going right to the church. We know that there is a crowd full of supporters both in the church and outside of the church today, as well as a lot of local politicians. We are seeing the force of South Carolina legislatures today. I mean, between the inauguration that's happening and also this event, we are seeing all kinds of local and state representatives, senators, city council members all out in force today to show why Charleston is so important. We talk about Charleston in the scheme of just the entire United States, we have a lot of voting power here in our state, and that's certainly something that is not lost on the president, and that's why this is such an important stop to him. We see him come to South Carolina again and again. We see the Vice President, Kamala Harris, here as well. We see Charleston playing a really important role on the global stage.
Exactly, and certainly an exciting time to have both of these major events happening both in downtown Charleston. A live look there again as President Biden is making his way onto the tarmac at Joint Base Charleston.
I'm ready. And basically we are here at the tarmac at Joint Base Charleston, as you say, waiting for the president. And at the base of the stairs right next to his limousine, you can see the wing commander is standing there waiting to greet him. Wing Commander Colonel Michael Freeman and Command Chief David Snar, both at the right behind the limousine, the presidential limousine. Also next to them, of course, is Congressman James Clyburn, Jamie Harrison, the chairman of the DNC. They're all now in place, and a number of members of the traveling pool media are in place waiting for the president to depart Air Force One, and pretty much everything's in place now, waiting for the president to walk out of that door that you see right here on the side of the C-32 aircraft that is Air Force One here today, as he made his way from Delaware here to Charleston Air Force Joint Base Charleston's base, and basically they're going to be here very briefly. As soon as he gets down the stairs to shake some hands, he will probably be getting right in the limousine and then heading to downtown Charleston. So of course that means traffic. So if you're anywhere between here and downtown Charleston, you can expect there's probably going to be some traffic issues here very shortly. The good news is once the motorcade does make its way through, they usually do quickly reopen roads and things start to smooth out again, at least until they come back to the Air Force Base or Joint Base Charleston again. We're waiting for the president to leave Air Force One as we can speak right now, and again at the base of the stairway, we do have people waiting to greet him, and we will continue to follow this for you and bring you the very latest pretty much as it happens here on News 2. Back to you guys in the studio.
That's right, a packed agenda for the president today. Now, as he mentioned, we don't have exact details from police and from his campaign where exactly the route he'll be taking into downtown Charleston, but Charleston police have let us know that I-26, 526, and the Ravenel Bridge should expect to see some closures. Of course, we see rolling blockades when we have a president come to town. Certainly will cause quite a traffic jam, and of course, he's all heading to Mother Emanuel first. That will be his first stop. So Calhoun and Henrietta Street have already seen closures so far this morning. We're seeing some gridlock form in the area already. And we're also dealing with the mayoral inauguration that's happening at noon. So quite a mess in downtown Charleston if you are on the roadways, but of course an exciting and historic day here in Charleston.
And just talking more, Megan, about the role that South Carolina plays. I mean, we've been focused a lot on GOP candidates just because that's how the election cycle is working this time around. But seeing former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley see this huge boost at the polls really in the last couple of months is really crucial for President Biden to relate to South Carolina voters, because here we have two people who could potentially be running against each other, both trying to prove to voters in our state that they have the best interests of South Carolinians at the root of their campaign message. That's something that will definitely be talked about today. We do think that President Biden, and there he is right now walking down the steps, it appears, of Air Force One, the president making his way into the motorcade. It's going to be fast action for the president. He will be right on his way after greeting some supporters there to Mother Emanuel in downtown Charleston. A jam-packed schedule for the president during his time in the Low Country.